Welcome to Lead Today with me, Kalina. Let's talk leadership. This episode would not be possible without Anchor. It's free and the easiest way to make a podcast. They're creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I mean, God, I wish I could do some of these interviews in person. It'd be such a different experience. Like I miss that a lot, just meeting people.
Yeah, I know. Actual humans. I know. The humans are cool.
The humans are super cool. Yeah.
They can be.
Well, I think you are. I mean, I feel so grateful. I mean, I don't know if you even remember, but we met at Dvbbs on college, and
I do remember.
Yeah, you sang my mom happy birthday, and I just thought you're such a kind person. Like, no reason to do that, and it was so sweet of you. And anybody that I know that's met you also says the same. Actually, I've got a friend that met you just randomly in Punta Cana saying like, oh, he was so nice, he took pictures, it was awesome. So I think that's a real testament to your character.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's so nice to hear, actually.
Yeah, and it makes a difference. You know, I think sometimes people think it's about whatever big press or the way that they donate to a charity or these big things, but it's actually in the day-to-day actions. And that's really why I started this podcast, actually, is because I wanted to highlight people that were doing those daily things to show leadership in their day-to-day actions. And my experience with you was exactly that. So that's why I was inspired and wanted to ask you on the show, let alone your amazing singing and musical talent. So really grateful to have you here. And as I was kind of mentioning, I know the nomination for the Junos is really huge, and then you've got this new NFT project coming along, and I'm really curious about it because I think a lot of artists are bringing that into the space, and the space is new, and I think a lot of people are sitting there going, what are NFTs? It's this new big thing, but why are all the artists doing it? So I'd love to hear your take on why you're bringing NFTs to the space and what even motivated you to do that.
Absolutely. Are we on the go? Like, are we ready to do this?
Still on the go. Yeah.
So that's the first question.
Yeah, that's my first question. I'll do a real, I guess, a proper intro, but I love to dive right in. I don't get too much time with you. I wish we had
amazing. Let's get it then. So for those who don't know, NFTs are non-fungible tokens. And what that essentially means is it's just specifically for you. Only one person can own it at a time. And so that's all put up on the blockchain. I know it's crazy. It's like not even English, but basically it's a digital ledger that is posted up on the blockchain where everybody can verify. People who are in this space can verify that you actually bought this specific NFT, this token, which is a digital art essentially mixed with these days music as well. And it's you own it and you can sell it and buy it and do whatever you want with it. And that's kind of essentially what it is right now. So it's like buying and selling digital art on the blockchain. Hopefully that makes somewhat sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I love that you say ledger because it clarifies that, okay, somebody's keeping track of who owns it and it's publicly available, who owns it and who has owned it. So it's this,
correct. Because it's decentralized, so it's not just one company or one CEO or one entity that's verifying everything. It's literally all the community, essentially. People who are in the space are kind of verifying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 25, 30 times that, yes, you have made that transaction, that is yours, and we accept, something like that. It's an interesting space. If you're unsure about it, I think just do some reading and then sort of dive into it. I think that's the best way to learn something, get your feet wet.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you mentioned it's art. I've seen a lot of them where it's you know, these graphic monkeys, or people are, you know, like cartoon type things. So how does music and your music fit in to the space? Like how do you do that with music? Do you sell,
There's several ways.
your music to one specific person, or how does that work?
There's several ways. There's actually several things that are going on right now. One of them is you can put digital, like, so visual digital art with music. So so it's sort of like a loop on a visual piece. That's what we've been doing. That's what we did with Omicron Queen. It's sort of created with New World Inc. and their team, an Omicron, like a cartoon character, Omicron dancing with like a queen, so with a crown on top. And I made the music to that, and it was sort of a loop, and that's what we sell. But there's also other ways to, even as an art, like a musical artist, to put your albums out there and sell them as NFTs. So it's obviously you have a cover, right? Like every album has a cover or single has a cover, and you sell that song for a certain price, and or that album, and people get, even with NFTs, there's always like an extra utility with it. It's not just the digital art. People want other stuff with it. So sometimes we give like signed t-shirts with the NFT that you buy. Sometimes it's like a lifetime of backstage passes to all the concerts. There's many things that you can give away with it to make the value more enticing. Yeah.
Whoa, I love that. You can also sort of bundle things and bring it into real life as well, in a sense. So it's not just, okay, you get the music, which is already a huge thing, but you're also saying you also can have a tangible t-shirt or come to a show and be backstage. I mean, that's huge in terms of value.
Exactly. Is it like for example, one of my Omicron Queen. So we've got different degrees of, like, we've got 3 different NFTs that we're giving away. One of them is $250, the other one is $500, and another one is $25,000. So the $25,000 Omicron, it's a gold Omicron, and when you buy that, we fly you down from wherever you are in the world, put you up in a hotel for a couple of days, and then you come into studio with me, and I create a song for you and with you in my studio. And you essentially go back home with a song. Like, let's say there was an artist that's like an aspiring artist, and they want to make it, and they want to have, I can write them and produce them a full song with all my experience and everything. And that's kind of why it's worth that, because you fly down. It's many things.
Yeah, I love that. I love immersive, and it's also definitely an experience in real life. And then you have this ownership of it online. It sort of verifies. So correct. It's not just something that you pay for and then it's sort of gone. It's kind of like you also have that digital ownership after the experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is more worth it, right? I mean, there are people already doing that without NFTs, but the fact that you have something to go away with and it actually is in this public ledger really adds to the value, I think. It's really cool.
I mean, if you think about it, the positives of the NFT scenario with music is also so that the artist can, monetize their song in a much more profitable way. Because if you think, for those who don't know, on Spotify, every stream we get about 0.00008 of a dollar. It's something like that. It's some really minuscule number per stream. Obviously, there's certain platforms that give you more, like Tidal and some other places, that pay us a little more. But generally, it's very minuscule. And so NFTs, you could sell something for $10,000. Like, it's your song, it's the same song that you own, and you can sell it for so much more depending on the art and the demand. Obviously, if no one cares for you and no one's going to buy it, and there's no hype, then you'll never make any money anyways. But so there's advantages to having NFTs that could really benefit you.
Yeah, absolutely. And putting it back in the hands of the artist in a sense, I think, which is huge. I mean, it's the same thing with, I think, book publishers and going the traditional route versus writing your book yourself and self-publishing. Like, it gives you that autonomy where you can still have the distribution, you can still have the visibility, but you're more in control as the artist, which is
and what's also essentially cool is that the buyer, and whatever, you're a fan or whatever, whoever buys your NFT is also investing in you as a creator. So let's say one day my NFT is $500, then maybe in a couple of years, or someone will want to buy, from you for $10,000. So it's essentially an investment as well, if you believe in the creator and you think they're going to blow up, so that's also exciting for the buyer too.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally. I mean, and you see it with artwork, so it makes sense that a musician would, right? It's still art, and you have the same opportunity for that to go up in value as a song.
Yeah.
So what about the royalties though? I kind of get curious about, like, how, okay, so if you sell it, somebody comes, they do that experience with you, they have this song, they own it, it's on this ledger. But what about if the radio wants to play it? Or what about like how do those royalties or those streams, how they're paying you per, how does that work into somebody owning it? Like if I own one of the songs that, how? Yeah,
well, it's essentially, if you do sell it to someone else, we do get a cut. So we do get a royalty. So every time it's being sold, to someone else, you're still getting a cut of it. So that kind of works out. It depends which platform. It gets a little hairy, okay? Because sometimes you don't. It depends on the platform, and then we can get into the weeds on that. But you can. There is a possibility for you to make a 10% cut, for example, royalty every time it sells.
Well, that's good. So you're not sort of getting cut out of the equation with the first seller. It's not like a house. Like you sell a house and then you sold it and it's gone, and now you make what you make off the first sale, but it's gone. This is in perpetuity. You as the artist still are getting compensated, which is you could be,
and there are platforms that do that, and there's others that don't, and but you sold it for that much. It's such a baby right now. This whole industry. In 10 years or 6 years or 5 years or 4 years, we're going to be like, oh, this was nothing. It was just like Facebook. Now we're so used to it, but at the beginning, I noticed a lot. I was just in Dubai and I'm having, dinner meetings with some of my friends from school, and they're all asking me about these NFTs, and they're so curious. And it's become the dinner table discussion, what the hell are these things, and everyone's interested in it because not a lot of people, but some people are making a lot of money from them. And so everyone's interested in how do we invest? I think it's going to be something that we're all going to get so used to in the future. And we're going to be like, that was so easy. Why couldn't they explain to us that way? But bottom line is it's about the community ultimately, so what I'm trying to do is build a community. So it's not I'm excited to sell the 151 to the 251, the $250 one. It doesn't have to be the 20,000 one. I just want the community to keep building, especially my fans. A lot of people don't know how to go on OpenSea, get a MetaMask wallet, because you got to get a wallet. It's really difficult. Then get your Ethereum and buy it with Ethereum or Poly. It gets confusing. So as long as we can build the community slowly, then they can come with me. Something like that.
Yeah, and I love that it is community based and it connects you closer to your fans versus having, okay, you can still have a record deal, but it kind of there's a middleman in that versus, hey, you can connect directly and pay that $150 or $250 and be in a community. It's much more intimate with the creator, I think, which is so nice.
I think it's important for us to just dive into this whole world. I'm probably going to be performing. I'm going to be one of the first, I'm proud of it, like Lebanese Canadians to perform in the MetaVerse. So we're discussing, we're having discussions right now with Decentraland, and they had Deadmau5 last year, headline. And so I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm headlining, but I'm going to be part of the lineup this year at Decentraland. And I'm excited about it because I'm like sort of a pioneer, I'm really putting myself out there, with this whole world. I think it's exciting. Look, it's something new, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, well, like you said, you have to immerse yourself, and it's all about giving it a go and trying, right? I mean, in 5 years, it could be huge. In 5 years, people move on to the next technology. But I think the point is that you're not missing out on what's new and what's possible, whether it's going to be MetaVerse or if it's something else. But the fact that you're willing to go after it and try it and put yourself out there, I think is the whole point. I think that's what's so inspiring about it, regardless of what happens,
I mean, I remember, at the time, even like with Facebook and like Instagram and stuff, when they first came out, a lot of people, people were like hesitant and whatever. I always jumped in. Even TikTok jumped in, just moved in, and I think it's always been beneficial for me when I did that. So I think I'm doing the same thing here.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's something people can definitely apply to their own lives, whatever industry you're in or whatever you're doing. It's that as the industry continues to evolve, which it inevitably will, you've got to be willing to try the new software or the new approach in order to evolve and stay current. And you certainly have done that. I mean, you've had a seriously successful career. It's not like just one song, you know what I mean? Like, I think what really inspires me about you as a musician is you continue to evolve in the scene. And I'm
contrary to popular belief. I remember the first time when Africa came out, long time ago, 11 years ago. People were like, yeah, you're such a one-hit wonder, and da-da-da, and one-hit wonder this, one-hit wonder that. And I'm like, it really bothered me. I'm like, I've only released one. Like, calm down. Like, okay, so this is my one. Hold on, I've got a career. And I've proven it with 9 hits, like 9 gold and platinum records. So they can't say I'm a one-hit wonder no more, but it really used to bother me when they would say
I think because I think it's what people expect, that people sort of, it's easy to ride on one success, right, and kind of hold on to it. But that's what I think is so interesting about how you approach this, is that it's a career. You just said, right? It's a career. So you continue to evolve and change and grow. And it's not, you did that. That's really fantastic. And everybody knows it. And it, I grew up with that song. Like it's a great,
we love that song.
You did a great job. But with that, you also continue to stay inspired and creative. And I'm very curious what keeps you in that headspace, because being a creator is it's not easy, and you really have to have a creative process and continue to be inspired and find things to light you up. And I'm very curious how you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really hits me from everywhere. Like inspiration comes from life and politics and the world and Omicron and everything that we're dealing with, relationships. I just love to create even funny things. Like lately with TikTok, I'm just creating like parodies of other songs and mixing them in with politics and what's going on with, masks and anti-maskers and whatever, all that crazy, everything we've been dealing with the past 2 years. It's so out there that I'm just taking it into my little studio and just having some fun with it and putting it back out into the world. And people find it funny. I had a song called Omicron Queen, of course. That's what created the NFTs after that. That was a parody of Caribbean Queen from the 80s. I had a song called Corona World, which is like Aladdin's A Whole New World. So I'm just having so much fun with this whole thing. And that's what TikTok did for me. I think TikTok is such a great app. The algorithm is so like spot on. Like it's really given my career another level, given me another boost, I think.
Yeah. Well, and so again, so you're willing to try different platforms and see which one is able to share your creations the best way and to get them to the most people and the right people that appreciate them. And then it's also fun and play, which is so interesting. I was just at a Jordan Peterson lecture, and he's an intellectual, right? And he used to work at the University of Toronto. I love supporting people from my hometown.
Yeah. He's great. I would love to hear what you have to say about him.
Yeah, no, I think he is great, and he definitely, his creations are verbal, and it's such a different approach than what you're doing, but his, in a very academic way, after an hour-long talk, listening to him, his whole point was to bring play into life, bring a sense of play into your life. And so even though he was quoting Nietzsche and these philosophers and scientific studies, and it was very academic, the whole point of it was to bring play into your life in the way that you do things. And so I just love that you're, I think, emphasizing that for yourself, saying, hey, I made it fun. I'm making, in the creations I'm making, I'm having fun.
Totally. And that's so, that's so not what people think Karl Wolf was about, like even 2 years ago. I'm always a serious musician, and I was never into this kind of mockery, parody style music, but I just, it's just so much fun. That's part of my character anyways. Friends who know me, they know that I'm like that. So I don't know. That's what you got to do with TikTok. You got to just dive in, try stuff, and see what goes viral. And with those, they keep on going viral. Like every time I make sort of a jokey song, people love comedy, man. People love comedy. People love music. When you can marry the two, you're really killing it. And that'll help me with my Spotify stuff. You know, I know it's not on Spotify because I don't put those jokey songs there, but just your notoriety and people know who Karl Wolf is. People who would have never known me before, you know, who are maybe a younger generation, maybe someone in the US, in the Midwest, you know, they kind of discovering Karl Wolf, and then they can listen to me on Spotify. So all my Spotify numbers are going up now. Nothing to do with the songs that are like parodied, but they just listen to Getaway, for example, or like Africa and rediscover me. So it's a whole loop. You know, I found kind of a loop that cycle that just works.
Yeah, I love it. It's again, community, right? What you're saying about the NFTs. I think this is all these different avenues are building your online community. And I think it doesn't all have to be the same. I think it's cool that some of it can be funny and lighthearted. And then some of it is really you honing your craft as an artist and putting out music. And then some of it is also with visuals on the NFT side, that you have the artistic side marrying. Yeah. I think it's beautiful that you're exploring the different avenues for sure. And it humanizes, like the fact that it's not all just, you know, singles. It's like you also have these fun little parodies that people can just connect with you in that way. I think it's very important to show that side.
I really think so. People love human beings. Like I know it sounds weird, but like they just love a normal person. Like they want to know who the person is behind the music. It's really interesting. In fact, I'm working with some branding companies right now, and they're not really interested in my music side. They're like, what do you do on your regular day? I'm like, well, I work out. I have like a trainer and everything. And they're like, oh, so we could do some branding with that. I'm like, but what about music? Like, yeah, music. But what about you? Who are you, Karl? Like, what do you eat? Do you cook? Do you eat vegan? Are you like a gluten-free guy? Like, what's the deal? What's your workout regimen? They want to know more about the human being. I think because that's more relatable, right? Not everybody's a musician, but a lot of people are human and they eat and they work out. So there's a lot more relatability there. And I find that interesting.
Me too, because that's what social media I think allows for, is even for somebody to get an insight into your world, right? They can see your trip to Dubai to some degree, right? When you share online. I mean, it's allowing us to see you beyond a 3-minute song, right? Like we get to actually experience your life with you. So for sure.
True. There is more than just the verse and the chorus of my song and the way my soul is singing it and writing and producing it. There's more than that to a human. So I never looked at it that way. I just thought I'm putting my whole self into that. But yeah, like, I mean, times are changing. And I'm going sort of with it. It's really cool. Like the person has become the brand, you know, not the musical person, but like the person in totality.
Yeah. And I mean, that's probably a big question to ask you at the tail end of our time together, but who are you? What are you about? I mean, I don't know if you want to tell us if you're vegan or not, but you know, who are you outside of the really inspiring music that you produce?
I'm an alien. I'm from another planet. I know. I love UFOs. I love aliens. I love that whole subject. I love to know who are we, you know, where we come from, you know. Anyway, that's another subject for another day. But yeah, I'm just a regular guy who loves, you know, who's got a passion for music. And I really think that the human body is really important for you to take care of it. Eat well, work out, you know, let your heart rate just go up. You know, I even, you know, my parents throughout their lives, they don't really work out anymore. And I never sort of want to be like that. I always tell them, just, you got to keep, you know, let your blood flow through your body. And like, that's so important to me. Just everything, not only me, but everything around me. So the people around me are important, you know, to think of them and to, you know, not to step all over people. And because that's the universe kind of karma coming back. Like everything is a push and pull in this life. That's what I believe. So yeah, I don't know if that answers anything, but
it definitely does. And actually on the alien side, I was just listening to Joe Rogan's interview with Sadguru, and he's like a big mystic in India. Huge, actually.
Sure. Yeah.
So he was just talking about his experience with
Bob Lazar.
Sorry, no, Sadguru with like alien life. So you might
right. Interesting.
Yeah, he is a fascinating. And I think it seems to be this uptick of people talking about like UFOs and aliens lately. I don't know what's
I've been on it for 15 to 20 years, where friends of mine were like, even when I was younger, people were like, what's wrong with you? I was onto that for a long time. I've had experiences with them. I've taken a photo in Egypt of a UFO on top of us. It's on my Facebook fan page. Look under Africa. You'll see it there, the album Africa. So I've had my run-ins with so many different people who've experienced them, who've seen them. So, there's really something there, and maybe that's who we are and where we're from. I've even read this Dr. Zucker, and I've read his books. I don't know if you know who he is or familiar with him, but he's a translator of the Old Testament and the Sumarian Tablets, and they would write it in their glyphs and hieroglyphs or whatever. And he was one of the first to translate them. And according to them, we come from a planet called Nabiru with Anunnaki. Anunnaki came down to Earth every 3,650 years, and they created man and woman as slaves to dig and to dig out gold to mine gold for their planet. It's just it sounds crazy because it is, but it's really fascinating.
It is. And I think with this and everything you've said today, what I love so much is your willingness to explore new things, different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different social media platforms, different ways to share your music, different ways to work out. I mean, all of it just lends itself to this curiosity. And I think your willingness to continue to evolve that I really admire. I think that's so big in being able to grow as a person. If you stop growing, I personally, I don't know, it's a bleak life, right? If you just decide you know everything and how everything works and this is how it is, like that kind of mentality, that fixed mindset.
But you know what? There's a lot of people that think that way, that think they know everything, and maybe they do, and good, all good to them. But at the end of the day, we're still a speck in the middle of this huge universe. And why are we here? What are we doing here? Like, what is this? I don't know, so
really
good, interesting.
Really good questions. I wish we had. I think that's the beauty though, is that we're seeking that, right? We're seeking, okay, why am I here? What can I do? What can I contribute? How can I do better? What can I learn? Where can I go? Who can I meet? How can I help them? Like, it's all these kind of questions that keep us seeking those answers. I think that's so human. I think that's what humanity is, the seeking of something, of a true love, of, partnership or having a family. Like we're continuously looking for more. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that you do that in your work is so special. Like, again, I mean, Africa I can't even believe it's like over 10 years. That I think it was yesterday.
I know.
But I mean, now you're nominated for a Juno and a completely different piece of music. So I just think it's so beautiful that you keep growing and evolving. And it's my absolute honor to be able to, experience that and hear you. You do beautiful work.
It means a lot to me. And especially with this nomination, I haven't had a nomination at the Junos in 11 years. So my 11 years ago was for the R&B category. And I've made the switch up only in the past 2 years, not even a year and a half, with TikToks and all that, where I would produce like house music or dance music or EDM just live in front of the camera or whatever. And that's how Getaway was created. It was created on TikTok. And now it's nominated for a Juno. And that means I'm the top 5 dance recording sound, in Canada. And that's crazy. And look who I'm competing with, Dvbbs, who are so well known for this stuff, Deadmau5. I mean, these guys are incredible at what they do. In fact, Dvbbs and I are talking about a record together now, So how did I go from R&B artist to like a dance music guy, or, and I'm even learning how to DJ now. I got my DJ equipment. And so I'm going to rock big stages, just DJ, because that's going to be fun too. So I'm changing, man. I'm switching it up, and it's fun.
I love that. Again, adaptability at its core, and it's beautiful to see you succeed with that in mind. Oh, I just appreciate you so much. You're such a kind person. I'm so grateful to have had some time with you today.
So sweet. I really appreciate you seeing me this way. It really makes me very, very happy, actually. Thank you.